You are listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast. My name is Andrew Mackay-Smith, and this is a conversation between myself and a fellow by the name of Andrew Mullen. Andrew's in a band from Melbourne called Pacing the Cage. The reason for the conversation is to promote their brand new, excellent album. It is called Intox. Let's have a listen to what Andrew has to say. Here we go.
Hello, Andrew speaking.
G'day, Andrew. It's Andy Mackay-Smith calling for our chat. How you going?
Good, man. How you doing?
Plugging away. Yeah, it's been a pretty bloody busy day for me with the two kids and getting them back from swimming and all the rest of it. But you don't want to hear about that. That's pretty un-rock and roll.
Hey, my day's been un-rock and roll too. It's all marketing and, just sitting on Facebook.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, you've got the new album coming out, so is that what you've been up to, just getting the socials organised so you've got some broad coverage there?
Yeah. So just... Actually, today, just recording a video to share, get a bit of interest with the album and stuff like that.
Yeah, look, it's like that. And how do you find the social media side of things? Is it one of those things that it's just got to be done, so you just put your head down and do it, or is it something that you enjoy? Because I know for me, mate, with my stuff that I do with the radio show and with the podcast series, I just look at it as a bit of a necessary evil. But do you instead embrace it all?
Some parts of it are actually, yeah. I know exactly what you mean because I there are times when I'm like, okay, I know I have to get a post out at 6 o'clock or whatever because that's a good time and that's a bit of a drag. I kind of from a creative point of view, I don't mind putting together things like videos and little snippets and stuff like that. That keeps me a little bit sane. But I do find it challenging to, be regular on the posts.
Yes.
But also be interesting, if that makes sense. Like, I find that in the end, I'm usually just rushed, and it's could probably, put a bit more effort into it, making something a bit more engaging, but. Yeah, it's a funny one, social media. I've, just been learning about it myself in the last couple of years on the best ways to use it and stuff.
Yeah, there's a fine line between quality engagement and spamming people on your Facebook list, isn't there? And that's the trouble that I've got with it. So honestly, I stopped paying for everything because I could see it making a bit of a dent, but you get sort of, I don't know how many likes you might get, say an extra 10, 20, 30 likes or what have you, but then you don't see a lot of those people convert into further engagement. It's just about that post that you've released. And that's the challenge. That's the dark art to it, isn't it?
Yeah, well, exactly. And I was just, because I personally just ran an ad might have been last week. And, even with that, it's quite a challenge to convert that into engage people. And I use Twitter quite a lot, and my personal account I've got quite a lot of followers on there. But the problem is a lot of them are just followers for the sake of following. And
follow me back, please.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Those kind of accounts, it's a bit frustrating because on the surface it looks like there could be good engagement, but it's only a handful of people that really make a difference.
It is, and so you've got this new album coming out, Intox, and you've got an excellent. What would you call it? I suppose it's an initiative that you're doing with White Ribbon. So,
right,
is that something that has meant more meaningful engagement through White Ribbon? Because I know Lee sent me across. He sent me across the Intox socials, and then he sent me across what you guys are doing with White Ribbon. So of course, it's a very impressive partnership that you're forming there. But has that translated into what you wanted it to do for you?
I think the main reason for with White Ribbon was there were a couple of songs on the album that were very, I guess, the similar theme as to what, supporting domestic violence and, respect for women and things like that. And what's what happened is we were given the opportunity to support an organisation as part of the release, and so I thought, this would be great because, obviously it means a bit to the band to be involved with White Ribbon. We thought it was a really good opportunity to get in,
you're promoting something very meaningful. That's what it is, as far as I can see. You've got your great music, but I mean, look, people want reasons for engagement, don't they? So you've got this partnership with White Ribbon that means when you're purchasing our music or streaming our music, whatever it might be, I'll get the specifics of it. I think it's if you actually pre-order the album. Is it the physical copy or is it the digital copy, or both?
It's actually both. I'm obviously trying to encourage from a physical. Actually, physical or digital is fine. It does go for both, but also any other item in our store at the moment will support White Ribbon as well.
There you go. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, and there are other. Sorry, you go, mate.
I was just going to say, to answer your question, yes, it has been a different engagement. We, typically the band, an alt rock band, our demographics are kind of, 24 to 45-year-old males, and certainly with the subject matter of the song Thrill Pill and our next single. It is a lot more supportive for women, and so that white ribbon inclusion has certainly helped in that sense. If it, as horrible as it sounds, to include white ribbon as part of marketing, but yeah.
Oh, I think I understand your point, and I don't think you need to be sensitive about it. What you're doing is you're raising awareness of an issue at the same time as people are going to be. The point I was about to make earlier is people are going to buy music anyway, okay? But their awareness of an issue is important as this might as well be raised at the same time. So that's the point there, yeah.
And especially when the songs are, are specifically about those subjects, it is, it does go hand in hand to be, you write a song so that it's, so you can, either portray an opinion or educate or tell a story or whatever it might be. And, if there's another way to enhance that story, then definitely.
So it doesn't just stop there with raising awareness around issues associated with domestic violence. Okay, I read your Facebook profile. And you've got, you cover topical ground as intense as mental illness, political corruption, social equality, and Australia's place in the global refugee crisis. So these are really the hot topics of 2018. So they're obviously things that you guys got together and thought, okay, so we want to play rock and roll, okay, but we want to actually have a meaningful story along with this. And a lot of rock and roll can be fairly introspective, can't it? Like it talks about the idea of self and what I'm thinking internally. The internal monologue, if you like, comes out. But you guys are actually talking about things that is happening around you. So was there a decision made early on in the band's career, right, we're going to talk about these very public subject matters, or is it something that's been designed specifically for this album, Intox?
It's a good question because it's something that's actually evolved, and the band and writing the songs. Say for example, there's songs on there that have been generated out of conversations or kind of just discussions about issues that going on in the world. A really good example is the Malaysian Airlines that disappeared, and that was something that was kind of like how on earth do we lose a massive big aeroplane when we've got the technology to spy on people at the most minute level from outer space. That it just makes me wonder about an entire aeroplane disappearing, and it just so happens that when that song was written, it was not long after the initial disappearance of the plane, but then more recently, they've, you know, there's been a bit more press, and I think you mentioned about it being very topical, 2018 kind of stuff. A lot of the songs were written, you know, 2016, early 2017 type time, and or even earlier. So they were kind of topics that were part of our mind, but just as the way the songs evolved and evolved with, you know, the news that's going on. In some ways, and sorry if I'm rambling on a bit, but
no, you're good. No worries.
In some ways, you know, there's something such as the way, let's just say, men are treating women in a very archaic kind of way, and that's an issue. That's a subject that we're quite passionate to talk about, and it just so happens that it just continues and keeps going. And at the moment, you know, there's all the stuff going on in Hollywood with
the Me Too movement.
With the Me Too, and these guys that you know, are kind of saying, "Whoops, sorry, you know, I didn't," you know, and then so they've publicly apologised and then, you know, plead their innocence, and it's just kind of like it's never going to end unless they take that full responsibility. So, yeah, just going back to your original question, yeah, I think there certainly wasn't a conscious decision to write about specific hot topics in the media. It just so happens that the topics that we're quite passionate
You're passionate about them.
Yeah, they've evolved as the album's kind of been you know, getting completed and getting prepared and all that kind of stuff.
So let's talk about the sound, because I'm a musician as well. So
Great.
I wrote down a few things when I was listening to the album. It's a bloody good album, by the way. I think everything, and I'm not just saying this, I can honestly say that I haven't listened to anything I haven't liked through Firestarter yet, and I've listened to some unbelievable releases over the past 12 months. Yours is a cracking rock and roll release, just a boisterous, loud rock and roll album. I know there's some other things in there, but the couple of things that came to mind, because of my vintage, 40 years of age, I heard a little bit of Smashing Pumpkins' album Gish.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, from the guitar tone, especially. Maybe not the way the songs are written, just the guitar tone.
Yeah.
But then through the vocal, I heard Jane's Addiction, so I heard a bit of Perry Farrell. Now, I'm not a massive Smashing Pumpkins fan, but I am a big Jane's Addiction fan, so you knew how to get through to me there, and no doubt a lot of other people.
Yeah.
But overall, it has this wonderful, I'm going to call it a 1996 vibe, and 1996 to me was a year that was very overlooked for a lot of rock music. There were a ton of indie releases that came out that year that were fantastic. And so it's got this 1996 to 1997 sound, but tell us about what you were going for sonically.
Yes, I think you asked a question earlier, actually, also about the songwriting process, and it kind of ties in with the sonics as well. When the project for the album started, the main thing for me, specifically for me, was I was only interested in songs that I would be quite proud of to listen to and to share with friends and family. And part of that was, firstly writing about topics that interest me, that I you know, can be quite opinionated on. And secondly was I just wanted to you know, plug the guitars in and have some riffs. So my heart's on riffs. You've nailed the time period of where
Wonderful.
My personal tastes all come from. I'll always. Was it Gish that you said?
Gish was the one that I referenced. I know that's from 91 or 92. I know it's earlier in the 90s, but there are a ton of other indie artists that you reminded me of that.
Right.
John Reed Club from Sydney back in the day. Nada Surf, I heard a bit of that. The Blue album Weezer. there was a few other things in there. Those two bands that I just mentioned, they were the ones that sounded most prominent, though. So
Sure.
yeah, and I'm noticing more bands are coming out with it. So it's a style of music and it's a sound that has a life of its own and has its own lane, if you like. And so certainly there's a big fan base there for it.
And I agree. And the reason I was just double checking on the Gish was because I specifically remember when I first heard Siamese Dream from Smashing Pumpkins, and in particular I think the opening, I can't remember the name of the opening track. But,
yeah, I'm trying to think. It goes, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. God, here I go trying to sing over the phone again. But yeah, Who Wants Honey Only If You've Got Some Money. Yeah, what's that called? Yeah, we know the song.
Yeah. It'll come to me at midnight, and just when the bass kicks in and the bass drums and the floor toms and stuff like that, I just remember thinking, wow, that's a different that was a different sonic experience for me. And part of this album was also going back to almost back to that 90s kind of sound, especially with my guitar tones. I wanted to be able to have, sometimes back in those 90s, some of the guitars, the fuzz was just really dirty and gross, and that was kind of, I wanted to blast a bit of dirt into the album as well. So
yeah, it's still very listenable though. It's a very listenable dissonance that you've provided. You know that, so it's something that to me sounds like as though you spent tens of hours on end trying to perfect the sound to get it right for the album.
Yeah, so it came in two bits. The first bit was I did a lot of the guitar tracking from home. And the second part was when we went into the studio and, we were recording drums and stuff, we decided to add another kind of layer of guitars. And the idea of those guitars was to be a little bit more traditional rock guitars. So, you can hear, just say on the start of the song about the airplane, it's quite a dirty, buzzy guitar, but then when the other guitars kick in, that chunky rock sound.
Yes, yep. Yeah, I can definitely hear that. Yeah, no, it's definitely got it all going on. So what about tours and promotion of it in the live scene? Obviously, you're going to be playing around your hometown down there in Melbourne, but are you getting out to Sydney and Brisbane and other parts of Australia?
The simple answer is yes. We're in the process of planning those. We've got a launch show in Melbourne on the 29th of September, and the plan is to have that as kind of, to kickstart probably a tour of regional Victoria, but then extending that up to Sydney, Newcastle, and I would love to get to Brisbane because we've just had a lot of support from a lot of people in your area.
Well, we're a rock town, there's no doubt about that. There's other things that go on, but if you're talking about what floats people's boat in the Valley, which is our entertainment precinct here in Brisbane, it's rock and roll. And look, I play covers music, so I'm used to doing it. I play more pop and funk, groove sort of stuff these days. But when I was playing in rock bands, there's a wonderful thing that happens up here, mate, which is that rock and roll is the music that's played between I'd say about 10 o'clock and 1 o'clock, maybe midnight. And then after that, the dance music comes on. But it all seems to work really well together. There's been many, many times when I've been unloading my gear and walking through fairly intoxicated people, having a great time, by the way. Nothing, no negative connotation in that statement there.
Yeah.
But they've been up the front watching us play a lot of the music that I just mentioned, Smashing Pumpkins songs, Jane's Addiction songs, Pearl Jam, Nirvana, what have you.
Right.
And then as soon as the DJ comes on, he's playing the latest and greatest from whatever the urban charts are on the urban charts in the States. And I've seen those same people doing it. And it's a great thing to see that happen side by side, in my view, because it means all music has a place.
Yes, yes, I really do agree with that. I think I see similar things going on in Melbourne. There's a nice rock community in Melbourne, but at the same time, I think a lot of people will appreciate different genres, and if it's a night with rock and maybe a folk band, I think the same kind of punters will enjoy that.
Mm. So, final question, mate. Where do you think you'll be in the next 5 years? I know nobody has a crystal ball, and you can only hope for where you might be, because you certainly deserve to be continuing to do what you're doing and have a broader audience, maybe even go abroad to Europe and the States. But where do you want to be?
Yeah, look, I think everyone has their goals and plans. Certainly, for the band, the 5-year strategy will kind of look like that. We'd like to be on the Australian festivals circuits, and even better, well, not better, but even as good, getting across to the European festival circuit, and just trying to, I'm a big fan of festivals and that experience of, community and getting out in amongst bands and stuff like that. So we can really, see ourselves trying to break into that festival circuit, and of course we'll take on any tours we can get.
Well, good on you, mate. Congratulations on Intox. Good luck to yourself and the rest of the band, and I really hope this goes where you want it to go to, because it's a wonderful sounding album. It's all there. I haven't seen you guys live yet, but I can only imagine that you've got the live chops to back up what you've recorded. So I hope you get those tours, and I really hope an agency deal or a management deal, whatever it might be, comes along and it actually allows you to go over to the States or to Europe and make a dent over there.
Well, that's certainly, agency and management is what our focus will be for the next 6 months, to try and, get some street cred to get their attention, and actually, sorry to I know it's time to.
No, you're right.
Up,
you're right. No dramas.
I was just gonna say we've just been going through the whole live performance show and what that looks like and stuff. And it's funny you mention Terry Farrell, because that's kind of where I'm heading as far as costume and stage presence and that kind of stuff. So hopefully we can make that work and make it our own as well.
Yeah, well, look, I'll be in the audience when you guys come up here, mate, that's for sure, because I'd love to see what you guys are doing live.
That'd be fantastic.
Cool, mate. All right, that's it, mate. Thanks so much for the... You have been listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast. My name is Andrew Mackay-Smith, and that was a conversation that featured a fellow from Melbourne by the name of Andrew Mullen. He's in a band called Pacing the Cage. Thank you so much for listening.